I'm a big fan of the giving movement, the company you work for.
I experienced certain situations with employees that changed my entire perspective and my life at large.
Humanity in motion is something that is also instilled on daily basis into your culture. What is it?
It breaks my heart to see them in the metro struggling with all of this rush during the peak hours, peak seasons, 8 months pregnant. How can we help them?
So you basically saved his life, right? Thank God. This is a really touching story.
We introduced the pet bereavement leave, and yes, sadly, 3 people have already used it.
Why do you care so much?
Yes, we are doing a lot of good. We're not angels, you know. You will forget about the purpose behind the brand because you're going to be so involved in your own problems.
Favorite challenge of my life, Gen Z.
So when the Gen Zs first entered the workforce, honestly, I wanted to avoid them.
Your leaders must be super empathetic, intuitive, highly professional, motivational leaders. Where do you find them?
Even if the person is the highest performer, I mean, they're going to spread so much negativity, your business is going to go downhill.
So can we build a company around humanity and still win today? Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of Mastervision Podcast, where we discuss the future, get inspired by it to build successful businesses and lives today. We, as leaders of our companies, often talk about creating high-performing teams. Teams that can hit the targets, teams that are scalable, that can help company to grow fast. But what if performance was not about pushing hard? What if performance of our team was about better listening, deeper understanding of our team? My guest today is from the company that implements that. Their culture is built around human. Their culture, of course, they have written manuals, but those manuals are written around people. Behind every KPI, there is a human story. And as my guest says, because life happens to all of us. And that's why I want to have a discussion with her today about, can we create a company its culture is built around human beings, but still wins in today highly competitive, AI-empowered, and fast-changing world? Can we actually do that? Please, guys, welcome my guest, Sabahatt Habib. Sabahatt is the Chief People Culture Officer at the Giving Movement. She believes that leadership starts with being a good human. She creates purpose-driven workplaces where people feel valued, connected, and empowered to grow. Sabahatt, hi.
How are you? Thank you so much for having me, Nina.
Thank you so much for coming. You know how long it took us to connect, to find you first?
I know.
Like I told you when we were preparing for this podcast, I'm a big fan of the Giving Movement, the company you work for. And so it was quite a challenge for us to find someone. And then when we saw you and you said yes, we're thinking you're exactly the person we need because you're responsible for people and culture. So I'm super happy.
Thank you so much. All's well that ends well. So thank you.
Sabahatt, let's just a little bit before we dive deeper into the discussion about culture, I want to ask you, tell us a little bit about the Giving Movement. I know about the company. I think just from my experience, or from my perspective, what I love about the Giving Movement is that you guys started the company here. The company started here in the UAE, and it's a purpose-driven company. And you're one of the first people who started talking about purpose and giving back. That time here, the narrative was not there about this. We were all about profit. And you guys created the fashion brand. It's there, and it has its social aspect to business. So that's why I love it. Now, can you give to my audience a little bit perspective or a little bit more details about what's the mission of the company?
So the Given movement, as you mentioned, it is a homegrown company. It's a homegrown brand. We started in 2020. Now, what we stand for as a business, I always like to explain it as we have three elements to us. So yes, we are a fashion brand. Our clothes are, everything is very fashionable. It's trendy. It's comfortable. It's unique. It feels great. And the second element is we give back, which is what we stand for. Like, we are humanity in motion. The reason why the founder established this business is because he believes that we're all lucky to be born into the families that we're born into. It's like ovary lottery. We never get to choose, okay, I want to be born in here. Like, I'm from Kenya, but I was blessed. I was born in a family that could afford to take me to school, to send me to school where I learned how to read and write and get my education. And then, of course, life is my own choices. I could have been born in the streets of Nairobi and I would have never had this opportunity. And that's how poverty keeps going on. It's you're born into poverty, and the only way to break it in the generations of the poverty cycle is through education. And that's what we stand for through our fashion brand, through the sales, through growing and scaling so large. We want to give back. So we believe in education. Hence, we partnered up with two charity organizations, Dubai Cares in Dubai and Harmony House in India as well, which is catered towards helping children. Of course, we've pivoted and we are supporting Gaza fully since 2023 with, their humanitarian crisis. But this is what we stand for child welfare. The third element to us is that we are eco-friendly. So we believe in giving back in terms of even the nature, the surrounding, Mother Earth. I mean, how much do we torture Mother Earth?
Exactly.
So we're trying our best even in that element. Sorry, I know I can go on and on
I think it's beautiful. No, and the name, the Giving Movement, is just absolutely. I thought there was one of the most brilliant examples of a great branding where the name means exactly what you guys are doing.
And it's just so powerful.
It's
like
very
when you
powerful.
say the Given Movement, when you wear the Given Movement, you feel like you're part of something bigger.
Yeah.
You are doing something. You're making a change.
And you're a good person.
Yes.
You're a good person, even if you're not.
I mean, you can't be part of a business or an organization that is all
Absolutely.
about giving back and not be good.
Absolutely.
Like, even if you're a terrible person, good will sip into you because we're all, we're not born devils. We have a good heart. All of us are good inside. Human beings can never be bad.
Tell me a little bit about the culture. Now, not a little bit. Tell me in details about the culture. Because you guys saying humanity in motion is something that is also instilled on daily basis into your culture, right?
Yes.
What is it? And when we were preparing for this podcast, you told me that the culture is about great human beings and the supporting people, right? So tell us a little bit of the culture, and then I'm going to ask you some practical questions.
Of course. So look, I mean, in the Given Movement, we're a high performance team. We believe that we're a sports team. This is what our culture is like. We are very against the entire thing of family. No, we're not a family, not at all, because families are dysfunctional. We try to cover up for each other. But in sports teams, you put your best players. You have the best person in each and every single role, from the help to, the senior leadership. Everyone is the best at what they do and they need to perform. In sports teams, when life happens, you are given an opportunity to, take a step back, and then you have another player that is going to support you. And then you have the opportunity to come back. When there are low performance issues, you're benched, meaning you're given feedback. You're being told, okay, Sabahatt, you need to work on X, Y, Z. There is clear and transparent conversations throughout. So there's no surprises. You know exactly where you stand as a business. You're given an opportunity to come back on the field. If you still are unable to improve, then of course you're managed out of the team. But there is full transparency. Now, being a good human being comes into picture with the culture, because this is all about humanity. By having no surprises, no anxiety, you know exactly where you stand at all times. And of course, being a startup, we're only 5 years. I mean, next year we're going to be 6 years old. We want to grow faster than, so for example, if a company took 10 years to reach point X, we want to get there in 5 years. So that means we need to give it our all. We're working with limited budgets. We're a fast-growing company, so everyone needs to be their best. There's no room for fluffiness or, all this hullabaloo. No, we're very transparent, we're very candid, and we also support our employees in all other ways.
But what about the human aspect of that? You've said that every KPI
Yes.
is around not just the the not performance. It's not your traditional KPI, right? Something that has the story behind it, the context of that particular person. How does that work?
So what we do is, I think what you're also talking about is our policies that are in place.
Also.
So all our policies. So first of all, I never believed in policies. Okay, I was like all about the whole Netflix culture, etc. But then I realized very quickly, no. We're human beings. We need policies because otherwise people are really going to.
That? When was that moment that you realized?
I realized that probably as we started scaling and more employees started joining the business, and then people started taking advantage of the fact that we don't have a policy. And when you would call someone out, they'd be like, "Oh, but where is this written? There is no policy." And you'd be like, this is common sense, and this is how you just do not abuse the company, like the privileges or etc. So yes, I realized very fast that as we scale so rapidly, we need to have policies in place. So yes, we do have a lot of policies, but we do not believe policies are shackles or chains that, everyone has to fit into these policies. So that's where the humanness comes. So we tailor our policies to the experience. And I don't mean that each person has a separate policy, a leave application policy. No. We have standardized, really bulletproof, candid policies in place for the entire organization. But when a person is going through something specific, then of course we look at that person's surrounding. What are they going through and how can we help them? And this is because life happens to all of us and all of us have different circumstances that we go through. So how can we best help them and not let the policy be a reason to make their life more miserable? In addition to what they're going through.
Give me an example.
Okay.
Like a real life example.
So a real life example. So for example, what we did recently, actually it happened twice, sadly, is that we had a situation where a person had lost their parent. Now, all of us are expats in this country. Some of us are blessed to have our family living with us in the UAE. Some of us still have our family back home. So obviously they needed to fly out. Obviously we have the bereavement leave. Now, in addition to that, if anyone, God forbid, has lost someone, they know that there is a lot of paperwork that needs to be completed. There's a lot of legal procedures that take place after the person, after the funeral, etc. And if you are, let's say, the eldest child or whatever, like this falls under your responsibility, right? Because you need to be there for your family. There's a lot of situations when the employees then pressurized, oh my God, you have to resume work, you have to come back. Or they're forced to take more annual leave, for example, just to cater to the extension of their bereavement leave back home. So what we did is that there was one situation where this lady, she was Sudanese, she was residing in Egypt at the time when her father had passed away. She needed to stay there for a couple of months because there were more complications. So we let her work remotely. Did we have a policy in place for this? No, we did not. But we knew her circumstance. We understood that she wants to work, but she needs to be there for her family. She's the only one who can sort all of these procedures, and it takes long. Like, I'm from Kenya. When my dad passed away, it took me ages to get the formalities completed as well. There's just so much that happens. So this is just one example. Then another situation happened as well that there was a lot of like religious rituals that needed to take place. All of us are of different religions. So this person needed to stay back home longer to make sure to complete all the rites. And they worked remotely during that time. If your job allows you to work remote, why not? But what would a company traditionally do? Oh, actually, Sabahatt, we don't have a policy for this. So bereavement leave is X number of days. You need to resume duty. If you would like to continue to stay back in your home country, you need to take your annual leave. If you have exhausted your annual leave, you need to then go to unpaid leave. This is how traditional companies work. So this is just one example. The second example, which really bothers me, and I really pray that a lot of companies do this because, again, it costs absolutely nothing, is when a woman is expecting in her last trimester, it breaks my heart to see them in the metro struggling with all of this rush during the peak hours, peak seasons, 8 months pregnant, struggling. I mean, why? Why doesn't this need to happen? If you can work remotely, why don't you let your female employees who are expecting to work from home in their last trimester? Why do you need the additional stress? If the job allows it, let's do it. And for the retail industry, because obviously then people will say, what about the roles that do not allow, remote work? So for them, we tried our best. And what we did is 2 weeks prior to the delivery date, they can just take it as leave and they can stay home. We looked into ways where we can have the retail client advisors, for example, do some training and come into the office and work as customer support, or then they can work remotely as customer service. We're still trying to figure that out. I'm being honest because it's a lot more complicated than it seems. Hopefully one day I will crack the code. But for for now till then, this is how we're trying to support. And we also let them pick their preference in terms of the shifts. So they can do the shift when it's non-peak hour. We try to help them. For example, they sit mostly, even though they're clients' advisors. So we're trying to cater to them as much as we can. As much as we can by keeping both the humanity element and the business element both in balance.
But what is the result of that? Have you seen the results, direct results? Okay, this person is working from home. This person is sitting on the retail floor because she's pregnant. I'm not against that at all.
No, of course.
But do you see the direct results on bottom line?
So look, it's difficult to put this into numbers. I'm being honest because yes, I can make assumptions that, okay, so the performance increased, the efficiency increased and put a number to it. But what I can tell you is the results that I have seen is the ENPS score definitely increases. The employees who these policies have helped or who have, experienced these policies, etc., they always give us positive feedback. They are grateful. When we need any overtime to take place, they are more than happy to. When we request them to work after hours or when there's like a November sale going on or something and, it's crazy time or whatever, they do it more proactively, with more happiness, with less resistance. They're happier employees who take on more on board. Can I put a number on this? I mean, yeah, sure, I could make assumptions, etc., but it's something that you can see through the ENPS. You can see through the feedback that you receive directly. You can see it on the faces of the people because it's genuine happiness.
What about the turnover rates? So
I mean, I will not give you specific numbers, but what I can say is that our involuntary turnover rate, yes, it is a lot higher than our voluntary turnover rate. And of course, this is for several reasons. We do manage people out that are low performers. We have, we go through restructuring as an organization as well. I mean, come on, with AI and all the changes that are happening in the world, I think this is very common to all companies and all industries. But yes, our rate of involuntary turnover is a lot higher compared to voluntary turnover. Voluntary turnover is less than 5%. Even for the retail industry, it's quite shocking because in retail, you have very high turnover, but people actually enjoy working at TGM for this reason. And they really work hard, honestly, even if the store is not hitting the target, they will go above and beyond to try to think of ways, like they work with their soul, because we are helping them show up in their lives. So they feel like they've been treated as a 360. They're looked at as a human being and not just a employee ID or, payroll amount on their forehead.
I think we were laughing before we started, right, the recording, that we lived here at the time where employers kept the passports.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
Yeah, they kept the passports of all their employees. And I had passports of all my employees in the safe at home, and I felt always worried to lose them. And we all work 6 days a week. It's a completely different world.
Yes.
Now, can we compare the giving movement culture today or the policies or culture to those traditional what we had before? So what was the traditional in this part of the world and still in some companies prevail? And what is the difference with you today?
I mean, there's so many differences. Honestly, the list is endless, but I will just give you a few. Others will be here for the rest of the week.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So, I mean, just a few of the main differences is that traditionally, for example, performance reviews, they happen on an annual basis or biannual or whatever it is, but they're always a surprise. It's like, okay, Sabahatt is expecting that she's done a great job, she's going to get a promotion or she's getting a salary increment. In the traditional mindset, I would then have a meeting with my line manager and they would tell me, oh, actually, Sabahatt, you know what? You should have worked on this. You should have worked on that. Sadly, no budget for... Exactly, no promotion. What happens to me? Anxiety over the roof. Now I'm supposed to go home. I'm supposed to tell my spouse this. Maybe I was banking on this for, I don't know, children or, life in general. Maybe we were planning to buy a house because I thought I was so ready. I thought I was doing a great job. And even just the mental stress that that happens to me, I start doubting myself, my own confidence, my own performance. I get deflated. I get demotivated. Like the amount of negative repercussions that conversation has is ridiculous. Now, what do we do in TGM? We have feedback going on throughout the time. We have instilled it in our culture that you need to give feedback immediately. This is you doing a good deed because you're not letting the person have anxiety. You're giving them an opportunity to actually change, to become better immediately. You are literally doing a good deed. Yes, it is an uncomfortable conversation. Yes, it is difficult. But you know what? You have to do hard things. That's why you're a manager. That's why you're in that role. That's why you get paid what you get paid for these reasons. So you have to have these difficult conversations. You have to do it on an ongoing basis. Feedback is obviously given and received as well, so upward and downward, but no elements of surprises. If your performance review is a surprise, that means your line manager has failed. You must speak to PD immediately and we will look into the situation because nothing should be a surprise.
Very interesting. So performance review is not a surprise,
No.
and the feedback is given immediately. Feedback
On ongoing
is
basis.
on the ongoing basis.
Yes.
Okay. What else is there?
All right. So, I mean, our leaves, as I said, so we do
Yeah.
have maternity leave, which, in the last trimester, the female employee can work from home, which we've already spoken about in detail. And then we also have our bereavement leaves are more than the UAE labor law as well. Because, I mean, come on, 5 days is not going to be enough. I mean, I don't think there's any specific time that is going to be enough, but obviously this is a business. So we have it as 15 days. And then also in terms of pet bereavement leave, because I think, again, like in a traditional company, look, I don't have any pets. I'm being honest,
I thought
right?
maybe when you told me about this, I
No.
thought maybe you have a pet.
No,
That's
I
why.
don't. But I know a lot of people
How
who do
they-
have pets, and I know a pet
Yeah.
is an important part of a person's life. And I know that some people may make fun of it or be like, "Oh my God, they love their cat so much. It's just an animal." No, it's not. It is a part of their
Family.
of their family, of their life, and we must respect that. And so we introduced a pet bereavement leave, which is 2 days, because again, it would have always been this awkward conversation. Okay, my pet is not feeling well. Okay, my pet passed away. Now what do I tell HR? I'm just going to make up an excuse, or I'm going to lie to them and I'm going to tell them I have an appointment, because they're not going to understand that, my pet passed away and this is having an impact on me. So we introduced the pet bereavement leave, and yes, sadly, 3 people have already used it. But again, I mean, can I put a number on how
Yeah.
on the
Can you put it-
benefit?
yeah.
No, you can't.
You
But I
can't.
can tell you that when it happened to them, they were so grateful. 2 of them actually came to me and hugged me, saying that at least like I can go, I don't have to lie, I don't have to overthink, I can just go and be and put my pet to peace, grieve for my pet, and come to the office later on, and I don't have this additional unnecessary anxiety or stress. So yeah, these are just a few of the elements.
And I think here we need to understand also in this part of the world, most of us are lonely,
Yes.
right? The family is far away. So having a pet is also, I don't want to say substitute, but it's also is part of the family.
It's company.
It's
It's
company.
like someone that you can speak with, because as you
Yeah.
said, like, your family is not here.
So who came up with this policy?
I mean,
how
we did as a
How
team.
did you even come up with the policy? Okay, let's do. Who drew? And then the feedback did you get once you said, okay, guys, we have this policy?
Look, as I said, some people were like, is this like a Gen Z thing? Now you have a pet
Yeah.
bereavement leave. But of course it's not. But like people are very like stereotypical at times, right? But the people who do have pets, or the people who are empathetic and understand the meaning or the magnitude of having a pet and how important they are in a person's life, they were very appreciative of it. And how did this come? So on an annual basis, we review all our policies. Like we do this because I don't believe perfection can ever be attained. Like we need to continuously improve. So we change our policies on an ongoing basis. I mean, there's so many versions that we've had, and every year over summer we go through it. And that's when we were like, okay, so list of policies, right, but something is missing. Oh, pet bereavement, how do we not have it? This is an important factor. We should add it. And that's how the conversation happened.
It's interesting because you talk a lot about the aspects of culture that cannot be measured.
Yes.
And I think it has to do a lot with the maybe intuition also. To give the feedback in the right form, you need to have a little bit more than professionalism, right?
Yes.
You need to have that correct intuition also to say it in the right way to the person. Your leaders must be a super empathetic, intuitive, highly professional, motivational leaders. Where do you find them?
So I think, firstly, I know like I'm just going to like double click on something that you said earlier about the numbers element, which is it's so sad that we live in a world where just to be a good person and to have policies that actually help human beings, we need to prove them by numbers. Isn't that so sad?
It's very sad. It's the
just
world.
terrible.
How terrible it is. I know.
Like for pet bereavement leave, I would have to prove it to the business
Yeah.
that this is having a positive impact and having greater ROI and performance and efficiency just to be a good person and to have, like it's just a crazy time that we're living in. But just to answer the second element about intuition. So look, intuition comes through exposure. Intuition comes through years of experience, in my personal perspective, right? And we can walk through life and have, a number of years of experience and get all kinds of exposure. But if we're not listening, if we're not aware of what we are being surrounded with or the experiences that we're having, we will walk through it and our intuition will be zero. I'm just being very honest. So I think what we do in TGM is we always try to encourage and continuously tell our managers, listen more than you speak. Because as managers, we're always ingrained, even me, I have to really control myself at times. It's like a problem arises, fix it. As managers, we have this crazy pressure that we need to have the solutions. We need to have, we need to fix the problems immediately, but we don't really have to be the ones to fix it. We need to create an environment where people can actually find the solution themselves and nudge them. It's more like coaching as well. Coach them to get the right answer. So I think the more we listen, so in the Given movement, just to kind of put it all together, we encourage our managers to listen, but of course draw the line. If nothing is happening, then definitely go in and fix the solution and put it in place immediately. But follow your gut, but also be very aware of your biases. We're human beings, we're not angels. Even I have unconscious biases at times. So as the leadership team, the C-suite team, we keep reminding ourselves we are a team. Yes, we have disagreements. Oh my God, you have no idea. We definitely do. But that's how it's supposed to be so that we can bring the best out of each other. And we also have created an environment where we can call each other out. I can tell them, hey, I think you're having a bit of a bias. Maybe is it because of X, Y, Z? Because this is human nature. Oh yeah, oh my God, actually, I think you have a point. You're right. So this is how, having open conversations within the leadership team, encouraging our managers, listen, don't just walk through life without listening, because then your intuition or your gut is not going to grow. And also about talking about situations and scenarios and dissecting them. So for example, if an employee is going through specific something, we will talk to the line manager. What do you think we should do? Encourage them to break away from how they have been subconsciously accustomed to think, because everyone's coming from different companies. Everyone's coming from different walks of life, different cultures, different ways of dealing with situations. So by talking about these things and trying to come to the conclusion together, we are helping each other.
I think I have a client recently, you reminded me about active listening. They have an interesting policy. It's it's in one of their clubs. They have an interesting policy. If you're a newcomer, they give you 1 month to observe, and then bring a report of what you think is wrong.
Nice. That's really good.
Yeah, know what is right, because what is wrong. And I thought it was absolute, because I thought it was a great policy, because it gives two things. First of all, you see the outside perspective. Number two is really teaching you how to get a negative feedback as a leader, right?
That's very,
you
very
need to
true.
take it as a policy and listen to that and swallow and listen to everything what's wrong.
Very true. I think maybe I will implement that.
Yeah,
It's a really great idea.
I thought it was brilliant. And especially today with the whole, I see a lot of problems with active listening today among the managers, among the leaders, and because I conduct a lot of workshop with the leaders, and it's disaster.
It really is, honestly, in meetings, and I feel pressurized as well, because I know I'm deviating off topic a little bit, but because leaders are so poor at listening, they're thinking about the response just to feed their own ego or just to be heard in a certain situation or a meeting, that they just forget to listen. And then, I find myself sometimes being like, did you just hear what I said? No, I'm sorry. What did you say? Exactly.
Or as simple as being distracted.
Yes.
They're not even listening. They're being distracted. Right. Yeah. Yes. This on the phone. It was before it used to be called bad behavior.
Yes.
Right. Today is, sorry, I'm very busy.
I know. Or typing on your laptop in a
laptop.
meeting.
Every time I see someone entering the laptop with the laptop, it's a red flag.
It drives me nuts.
And you know what I've also noticed? We used to always bring notebooks and pens to the meetings, all of the people, anyone. Some people would write notes, some no. But everyone had a pen and a notebook. Now, no one cares.
I know.
I'm the only one, like an old lady with a pen. Like the lady from another century. And my team members, because they know I like them. But people don't take notes.
I know, and I really don't understand because, I mean, either they have incredible memory
or that's how much they care.
Exactly. It's honestly, it's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. So I encourage my team not to take notebooks only because I have come across a situation where we had a very inquisitive employee who went through a PD notebook, and obviously whatever we write would be confidential. So what we do is we take notes on laptops, but literally...
But you take notes.
Yes, we take notes. But not like if I find someone typing or, replying to an email or doing anything other than taking notes in a meeting, I call them out. Yeah, they probably don't like me, but I don't care. I'm doing it for their benefit. You see what I mean? Like you got to do this because you're helping them.
So I couldn't bring if I work for you, I wouldn't be able to bring my notebook?
I mean, if you're in PD, no. But if you're in any other department, sure.
Right, okay.
Sensitive information.
Right, okay. Because, sometimes you use the notebook to draw. Right,
just to doodle,
to doodle. So, but at least you pretend like you care.
For sure. And I think the whole thing of writing, it just has a different feel. Yeah. I still write as much as I can, like journaling and
It helps, and I think it helps active listening also.
For sure.
Because you write certain words that stays here, and then you can respond better.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you, and that's the question I had since the last time we spoke and prepared for this podcast. Why do you care so much?
So, look, very early on in my career, I experienced certain situations with employees that changed my entire perspective and my life at large. I think I've also mentioned this, so I'm going to just mention the same example because it really did have an impact in my entire life. So when I first joined and I first started my career, it was very administrative. I mean, I was booking tickets, exit tickets, creating NOC letters. It was very an administrative, job. And I thought, oh, this is just it. This is what HR is like. No, it's not. So I was lucky I had a mentor and a leader who showed me otherwise, but still very difficult to change because, I was in a large organization, etc. Culture was different. Moving on, then there was a certain experience that I had in my next job where we had an employee who used to come to the office every single day, on time. And if they were getting late or if they weren't coming in, they would always tell their line manager. This employee did not tell anyone anything. Like, they just never showed up one day. And normally in any other organization, it should be like, it's okay, it doesn't matter, whatever. Maybe they're just taking a sick leave. Like, you would never double click or make an effort to understand what happened. Are they okay? But at that time, because something happened to me and the line manager, we were like, no, this is not normal behavior. We care about our people. So we tried to call them. We tried to find out where they were, etc. They did pick up the phone. Long story short, they actually had a medical emergency. And we found them in their apartment having a stroke, but we never even knew that they were having a stroke because I don't know what a stroke looks like. I'm being honest. Like,
what a stroke looks like.
So because it is a blood clot in your brain, so some of your activities don't function. So for example, they were unable to communicate. They were trying to communicate, they were trying to speak, but there was no words coming out. So it was just... So
you've met that you went to the person's
house, found them that they had a stroke, but I never knew they were having a stroke. I personally thought like, okay, have they consumed something? Like, I don't understand what's going on because they're smiling, they're walking, but they're not communicating. And their eyes is like, as if it's like, blank. You know what I mean? They're looking at me, but they're not really looking at me. But I do not know what it looks like. So I could not pick up the signs. So, but still, we called the ambulance. The ambulance came. They were taken to Rashid Hospital. Turns out they had a stroke. And because we made the effort to find them, so they were living alone in Dubai. So no one would have known. Literally no one would have known.
Yeah.
And the longer a stroke is unattended, the more damage it can have, and it can even lead to someone losing their life. But because of this effort with the line manager and the people and culture team, we were able to help them. And, so I think that made me realize, like, okay, Sabahat, this feeling you have inside your heart or your brain, which you're not really putting in words, it is real. And that made me make a conscious effort to even focus more because now I saw it firsthand, like This is a human
Yeah.
being. It kind of like, it put everything in perspective. What
Yeah.
was deep in my subconscious surfaced into my consciousness. And
So you
that's what
basically
changed.
saved it was a
Yeah, so we did. We
male,
did.
save his life, right?
Yeah, touch wood.
Thank God. This is a really touching story. When you told me the first time, I was like, and now even I have goosebumps.
I
It's
still feel
only-
like crying every time I think about it because it was just...
Do you think this type of culture and this, I would say, attitude from each individual leader, is it possible on a bigger scale? Is this scalable even, or it's more gonna work with a company of, I don't know, 100 people?
I think it is scalable, but it will require a lot more effort. So at the Given Movement, we're just above 200 employees and we have 8 retail stores. So one could even question the scalability at this stage because we have HQ and we have stores. But we have been successful with the partnership of our store managers. So I 150% believe this is scalable to tens and thousands of employees, businesses as well. But it will require a lot more effort, and it will require the business to respect the people and culture team and to ensure that they have a seat on, the round table, like King Arthur's round table, because in larger organizations, PD is always put on the side. They're always put as to, sometimes they're not even reporting to the CEO, which makes absolutely no sense. This is the people and culture team. You need to give them the right importance, so then equip them with the right, empower them, so that even within the organization, the rest of the C-suite team and the rest of the people will respect them. And then they will listen more to what they're trying to implement. I'm sorry, but this is the kind of world we live in. It is what it is. You need to empower them, give them the position of respect, and then people will start listening to them. But yes, it is 150% scalable, but it will require a lot more effort.
Now, when you hire for a leadership role, so because you need to see then the intuition, I guess, the empathy, right?
Yes.
And what you said, a good human being. So how do you check for if the person is a good human being or not?
Look, this is a very, I'm just going to say it from my personal perspective, right? It's not like there is any right or wrong answer to this. But when you ask a person certain questions during the interview process, like, I don't know, if they're talking about their failures, are they talking about the learnings behind it? Or are they trying to blame someone? Are they saying, oh, it was my line manager, or it was my company, or it was X, or is it Y? Or did they just take it as a positive element that this happened? These were my learnings, and this is how I dealt with it. When they're talking about successful projects or successful, because that's what they do in an interview. You boast, right? You talk about the best things that you've achieved. Are they talking about the team? Or are they just saying I?
Right.
Or are they talking about, are they saying we? Or are they saying me? How are they speaking? How are they communicating the messages? And also what I always ask people is, what has been the most difficult period of your life, or what has been the most difficult situation or decision that you've ever had to, take, and be it in your personal and professional life. And this shows grit. Of course, if a person doesn't want to answer personal life, it's fine. They can talk about professional. I'm not going to, force anyone to say anything. It depends on how comfortable they are. But that also shows their grit, and it tells me more about who they are as a person and how did they deal with those situations, etc. So it is, how can you tell if a person is a good human being? You can never get it 100%, because when a person is in an interview, they are still going to try to put their best foot forward. It's like dating. You don't know how a person is until, I don't know, you get married to them. You know what I mean?
And live for about 10 years and go through the crisis.
Exactly. But it's your best bet. And this is how I make my best bet.
Right. And then how long do you give them to prove?
So our probation?
Yeah.
Probation is 6 months in the business, but you can pretty much tell within the first month or two.
The first month.
Yeah, the first difficult conversation you have, or the first meeting you have, or the first interaction where you're, giving or receiving feedback, you can tell whether you made the right call or not. I honestly believe that. And we have, as a business, parted ways with, people even in senior positions because they were a cultural misfit. When I say cultural misfit, I don't mean everyone should, fit into our culture. They should definitely bring something more to the table. But if they are being suddenly rude to subordinates, or if they're spreading toxicity or spreading negativity, we cut it immediately. Like, we do not tolerate this. And we do it immediately to set an example to the rest of the people as well. This is not tolerated. We will never tolerate a person being a bad person to another person.
What if that person is a super performer?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
So
matter.
the numbers that you've reached the best targets just because of that
Doesn't
person.
matter. Doesn't matter. Because skills are teachable, but kindness and being a good person is something in you. And even if the person is the highest performer, I mean, they're going to spread so much negativity, your business is going to go downhill sooner or
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So for all the numbers people, yeah, it's never going to work. But even just from a human perspective, I mean, how can you tolerate a person like that in your business?
So everyone at the executive level agrees to that.
Yes, they
There's
do.
100% alignment.
Yes.
That is not the performance of that particular person, it's the toxicity
Yes.
that made him redundant.
Yes.
And you're all okay
And
with
yes, and we do have debates at times, especially if a person is from a niche background and, you know, it's going to be difficult to find their replacement.
Yeah.
But then we always say, hey, what is the right thing to do? The right thing to do is to remove them. End of story. We will deal with it. We will get our hands dirty if we need to. We will do the job if we have to. But we need to stand up for what we believe in. And that's the whole point about being a leader. You have to make tough decisions. Otherwise, why would you be a leader? If it's going to be that easy, anyone can do it.
But then did you have an instances where people used that to for the excuses not to achieve their numbers?
So again, human beings, yes, they
Yeah,
would
of course,
sometimes.
you need
Yeah, 100%. But then you just have to have, again, an open conversation. Okay, was it really because this person was not in the business? Touch wood. We have never experienced this. Again, touch wood. But yes, the situation can definitely arise depending on who the role was, etc. But I think in that situation, we would just have an honest conversation. Was it really because this person did not exist in the business, or what? Like, let's be open. What is
Right.
it?
Now let's go into my favorite challenge, the challenge of my life now, professional life, favorite challenge of my life, Gen Z. So I'm on this journey of falling in love with them because I really have a lot of questions that I'd like to ask them. And we have different experiences with them. We have brilliant people, but also, unfortunately, most of the people we hired and let go and met were a bit difficult for us to understand. So let's go into that. The typical stereotype today of Gen Z that, yes, they want their match at 4 p.m. They want to work when, they want to have flexible hours. They want to travel the world.
Yes.
Very hard to motivate them by money and career growth, probably. They're all entitled. And they want to start with the
Higher salaries.
right, higher salary. Yeah, they want money actually. Higher salary, higher title straight away without really improving themselves, and so on. And I find them that I'm trying to change in my mind. I find them quite lazy compared to our generation. What's your take on that, first of all, and how do you deal with that?
So when the Gen Zs first entered the workforce, honestly, I had the same feeling. I was like, I wanted to avoid them. I'm being very transparent, right? I was like, I want to avoid them because they're very difficult to deal with. I haven't yet figured this out. But then with time, I realized as they've entered the market, I feel very empathetic towards them because honestly, they have not had it easy. You know, in our generation, when we were growing up, we had a lot of social interactions. We had a lot of time with our grandparents, with our parents, without devices. We used to run around. We had pigtails. We were able to be children. We were able to be ourselves. We didn't have to start putting lipstick or start being all mature at the age of 10 or whatever it is. Like, we didn't have this kind of pressure. We had great childhoods, to be honest, before this whole technology thing happened. And for them, they were born into technology. And us, the millennials, who are, we were in the workforce already. So we didn't manage to spend a lot of time with them. I mean, that's probably the Gen Alphas because you and I are not going to have a Gen Z kid right now. But you know what I mean? Like maybe towards the late millennials or something. So they're all working parents, etc. So I feel like people think that Gen Zs are digital and detached, but they're actually very emotional beings and they have a lot of emotions inside. It's just that the way they express it is different because of their walks of life and because of the generation that they grew up in. And I think in the workforce, they have a lot of amazing ideas and they are able to do work a lot more efficient because they're lazy. So they want to get it done fast. So they find the quickest way to do a task.
Yeah.
They find the most effortless
Or just
way
leave
to work.
it and not do it also. I have the...
Yes, I've heard
If
of these
it's too
stories as
difficult,
well.
just leave it.
Exactly. Just pretend like it's going to
Yeah.
get done by itself
Yeah.
if you ignore it. But I honestly think by having candid conversations with the Gen Zs and setting up clear boundaries and setting up clear deliverables and telling them why the task is important. I think Gen Zs want purpose. They want to understand the reason, because that's why they're making all of these, how would I put it, conscious decisions about even their consumerism, etc. Because they need to know, why are they into matchas and not coffees? You know what I mean? Okay, maybe it's just because it's a trend.
It's not even tastes good.
I know, but so some say it's because of the health. I don't know, whatever it is. But like these people, they need purpose. They need to be driven. They need to be given flexibility. They need to be given a space where they can actually, say what they think without us getting all defensive and offended. Because sometimes the way they speak, I initially did get offended. I was like, how could they say this to me? Exactly. Like how could they be so blunt? But no, this is just how they are. They don't mean anything. And because they haven't had a lot of social interactions in their life. They don't know how best to communicate. So I think they do require a lot of time and they do require a lot of energy and effort, but they are amazing. They're remarkable. They have so many ideas. They have so many emotions, and they're great human beings that we just need to understand them more.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of... They require so much maintenance, but...
All the Gen Zs are going to hate on us, Nina.
Yes, they really... There's a lot of... The competition is insane today. The world's changing fast. The technology, transformation that happens, they are incredible, right? We need to be aware of that. There is never time for ourselves. So the rate of burning out. And then we have Gen Z who are high maintenance.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard. But I like your thing. Feel sorry for them. Maybe you'll fall in love with them.
We just need to be more empathetic.
Yeah.
To each other, to everyone, including the Gen Zs.
No, it's true. I mean, of course, I'm joking about it. I have a couple of brilliant people in our team that
they're amazing.
They're brilliant.
I mean, the way they think, their ideas they come up with, and they're so efficient. Honestly, I think another way to motivate them is give them challenging enough work. If it's too challenging, they'll think it's like boring and they'll just never do it. But it has to be like the right balance of challenge that is engaging as well, and for them to get their best potential, because they are incredible. They absolutely are.
So what do you think if we put, 3 factors that motivate them today? Yeah. So let's say at the giving movement, I'm sure you've got Gen Z
Yes, we do,
right?
and they're amazing.
So how do you motivate them? What makes a difference for them to perform their best?
Okay, so we give them flexibility in the sense that what we have. So look, our generation, we like to go to work a little bit earlier. Fact. It is the truth.
Yeah.
Gen Zs, they like to go to work a little bit later. Some of them, fact. So what we've done is that people can come in anytime between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., but not later than 10 a.m. The Gen Zs normally come to work towards like past 9.
10:05?
10. But yeah, and it's fine because they deliver and they do a great job. And this is at least one less stress out of their plate and one less thing for us to be like, oh my God, they're coming in so late. No, they're not. Now they're coming on time. And so definitely flexibility. I think the other thing is they need clarity. They cannot work with ambiguity. Back in the day when our line managers would just be like, hey, Sabahatt, can you just do this? And I would have to think, oh my God, what exactly did they mean? What exactly do they need? No, ambiguity does not work with them. You need to give them clear deliverables. You need to clearly communicate with them. And so that's the second thing, like clarity. And I think the third thing is like the work should be just challenging enough. It has to be challenging because otherwise they're not going to be motivated. If it's too easy, they can get it done in 5 seconds. They're not going to they will lose interest very fast. So it needs to be challenging, but not too challenging. And I think we need to give them a space where they can be themselves as well. Like let them have their, matchas or their, conversations about whatever keeps them engaged.
Yeah. What about the purpose? So you're a purpose-driven company.
Yes.
Does it make a difference, do you think, that they don't just work to make someone look good?
So yes and no. Like, look, we stand for an incredible purpose. It's true, but I'm very transparent and honest in life. At least I try to be as much as I can. I mean, no, I am a transparent person. When I say can, it's from a business perspective anyway. So our purpose, yes, we are doing a lot of good, but you forget that we're not angels, like on a day-to-day basis, when stress is hitting the fan, when there's a lot of things happening, you will forget about the purpose behind the brand because you're going to be so involved in your own problems. It is a fact, we're human beings. So we try to remind everyone about the purpose, but it's not going to be your key motivator. What's going to be your motivator is this: lack of ambiguity, clear deliverables, candid conversations, continuous feedback. Because it doesn't matter how many people you're helping outside of the given movement. If the culture is toxic within the business and you're not helping, as they say, charity begins from home. So I mean, metaphorically, you need to take care of your employees first for then to be able to take care of the rest of the world. That's my perspective.
No, I think it's really transparent, and this is absolutely. I love what you said. I thought I would hear the great stories of how purpose makes everyone happy.
I mean, it does, and it is important. But life happens, and when stress hits the fan, you think about yourself.
So, if we were to take one takeaway today from your experience and what you're building at the Giving Movement, or maybe your personal experience, professional experience, what would that be? You think that I can implement today in my company to help improve the culture?
So I think it would be just listen to your people, because what has worked at the Given Movement might not work in another business. Each business has their own different needs. Each business would require their own set of different types of tailored people experiences. So listen to your people. How do you listen to your people? Yes, you can use the traditional method of surveys. You can have skip level meetings, engage with the staff, understand when life happens to them. Tell the line managers, bring these problems to me so I understand what's going on, just so that you get a more feel for what is the need of the people in your business. There's nothing like one size fits all. And I think this is something that HR and all our companies need to stop. We always talk about customer experience, customer journey, and we focus so much on that because obviously that's where profit is going to come from, right? Businesses scale. But what about doing the same for your employees? Let's focus about the employee journey, personalizing the employee experience, and that's how we will thrive. It's just what I feel.
I think we need to create a different podcast about the whole employee journey.
I think we should.
And how it works in practical terms.
Yes, because I know people will think, oh, this is all fluff. She's just talking. Just keep it simple. Honestly, like simplicity is key. I feel like we overcomplicate things so much in life. Like I'm telling everyone, like we have a lot of policies we do, but we listen to the person and then we try to cater to them, but obviously keeping the business's interest and the human element. It is difficult. It takes a lot more time. It's a lot easier to repeat policies and be like, okay, this is the bereavement leave, this is the annual leave, this is the this leave, this is the maternity leave. No, it takes more effort and a lot more energy. But it is what is meaningful. And especially with AI taking away all these mundane tasks, we have the great opportunity to now take care of our people even more because we have bandwidth now. We have time to be empathetic because all of our administrative work, 9 out of 10, is going to be done with AI. So this is a great time in our life, honestly. So,
and that's an interesting question also. Now, we live in the time where no one can predict what's going to be in 10 years.
Yes.
It's the first time probably in the history of humanity that we don't know what's going to be in 10 years. What do you think is going to be in 10 years at the workplace? So what's your view on that?
I honestly think this is just my assumptions.
Yeah.
I think the organizational structures will change. It's no longer going to be the traditional hierarchies or the traditional roles that we have. I think skills are going to be more important. I think job descriptions are not going to be a thing because I think the job itself will be changing on a daily basis. So it's more like something comes on your plate and it's the skill that you have or the skill. So it would be like X task, working on X project. Who has the skills to complete that? It's not going to be specific to titles or to departments. I think it's going to be more collaborative, but like less of these structures in place, especially with the new generations entering plus the AI. Yeah, this is what I imagine it to be. I think it's definitely, there is going to be a huge human element because there's so much technologies. The human beings will need more humanness because that's just how the world works. And we've seen that with the Gen Zs as well. So yeah, I think this is my assumption.
That's great. I call myself sometimes, it's gonna sound strange. I don't think the word like this exists. Humanizer.
But it's true. I like that
So
word.
I go and take the things in the company philosophy and then I explain it to people in the human language. And I always make fun with my husband that I'm going to be chief humanizer officer in the future.
But it's so important. And again, why do people overcomplicate things? Why does the philosophy of the company have to be so complex language that you need to break it down?
Because most of it is written now by AI. And then when you write it by AI, you don't remember half of it.
I know.
So
We'll always need human beings.
Yeah.
Humanizers like yourself.
TM. Maybe I hope it doesn't sound any dirt. It doesn't have any dirty meaning in the Oxford Dictionary. I need to check that.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Just we'll make sure it doesn't sound. The last question I always ask my guests is, if you had a chance to get one superpower today, what would you choose?
So I think it would be to be present. The skill or the ability to be present, because there's so many times when I'm with my mom or I'm with my husband and we're in a great moment, but my mind is not there. I'm either thinking about a chore I need to do or work or something. And yeah, I know we always talk about this and there are a lot of things that we can do to be more mindful and present, but it's difficult. I find it difficult. So I think to be able to be present, to be able to nurture those moments with my family, with my mom, just to hold on and to be there, just to experience it. So yeah, I think for me, the superpower would be to be present.
This is so beautiful.
Thank you.
I would love to have superpower like that also. I'm working on that. It's a lot of distractions today too. And I think it requires a lot of work. But I'm sure you can gain it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work. But of course, we can gain it. We can achieve anything we put our minds to. We're incredible human beings.
So can we build a company around humanity and still win today?
For sure.
For sure.
I think that is the only way to win.
Yeah.
Because look, I mean, all companies, all businesses, there is a lot of similarities. It's just, I mean, they're all producing the same thing with a small difference and we're all fighting for the same customer. But what differentiates us is our people, because then that will help with the customer experience. For example, in the retail stores, for example, in the product, for example, I mean, if your people are happy, I think Richard Branson is a big advocate for that as well, right? With Virgin Atlantic, etc. That if your people are happy, your customer is going to be happy. So I think this is the only way that we can thrive. And he said it ages and ages and ages ago, like decades ago. And I still believe in that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you. Excellence.
Thank you. Habab.
I think it was. Are you cold?
No, I'm okay, actually.
You good? You have cold hands.
Oh, really?
Hot heart and cold hands.